It's a real honor for me to be here today to talk about the role that Abu Dhabi is playing in not only consuming technology, but in enabling this technology revolution that we are all living in. It's such a special honor because I grew up in Abu Dhabi. I grew up playing on the beaches of Abu Dhabi, and these are really special beaches. I grew up going to a great mall we had here in Abu Dhabi. It's called Hamdan Center. And that's when I took my first computer course. And to know that today I play a role in enabling my daughter interacting and consuming technology with her iPad is a fascinating opportunity, an incredible opportunity. So before we get into the story, I'm going to give you a crash course on semiconductors. Some of you might be wondering, why are we talking about semiconductors in a media summit? Well, the industry it's actually quite simple. It's broken down into chip designers. So these are companies that design chips. And chip manufacturers, companies that manufacture chips. Some companies do both. Some companies don't do a good job at either. But actually, it's not so simple. In fact, today we live in a world where chips, the size of our thumbnails, contain over 1 billion transistors. And these chips power everything in the world around us. And Abu Dhabi is playing a role by investing and partnering with companies that do both. So why do we do this? The Abu Dhabi Economic Vision 2030. This is the compass that guides us. This is the roadmap that says that one day we will be a diversified, sustainable, global city. This is why we invested in semiconductors, why we invest in aviation and aerospace, why we have a media summit. So as we thought about the semiconductor industry, we started looking at the characteristics of the semiconductor industry. We looked at economies that have grown over the years, drew some inspiration, particularly from Singapore, that had nothing in a short period of time bet its future on technology. We looked at the characteristics of the industry itself and saw some incredible growth with semiconductors, with technology, and that was an attractive point for us. We looked at productivity. We can't invest in industries that employ 500,000 people or 1 million people. We can't absorb that here in Abu Dhabi. But we can create industries that employ thousands and generate the impact that is so required for this industry. Last but not least, is we looked at the workforce. And the intensity of managerial talent and technical talent required to succeed in the industry is precisely the kind of thing we wanted here in Abu Dhabi. One of these facilities employs anywhere between 1,000 to 3,000 people, and everyone has to be really good at what they do. In leading people, in managing, in designing, in manufacturing. But these are all really cool charts. Anybody can put these charts together and anybody can talk about it. Before we entered the semiconductor industry, we had to face a reality. We had to play to win. We had to invest a tremendous amount of capital outside of Abu Dhabi and create a global champion. And we had to be in it for the long run. And we had to believe that it's not Abu Dhabi versus everybody else, but it's Abu Dhabi as one part of this global network. And we set out to execute on our strategy. In March 2009, we created Global Foundries with AMD by separating the manufacturing business In December 2009, we acquired a company out of Singapore called Chartered Semiconductor. And in January 2010, we put these two companies together and we created a global chip manufacturing leader that is today known as Global Foundries. This chip manufacturing leader has facilities in Singapore, in Germany. We are building a state-of-the-art facility in New York. And today, this company, owned by the government of Abu Dhabi, manufactures 70% of worldwide contract manufacturing chips. That is the power of the platform that we have. But this is not where it ends. In fact, we're not even a success yet, because we will be a success once you see Abu Dhabi on this chart, and that's where we're coming next. But we have to do this deliberately, and it will take us time, and it's not just about putting an anchor. We have to invest in research and development. We have to invest in people. We're partnering with education institutions. We will build global foundries in Abu Dhabi. The companies around it will ultimately come. That is the strategy that we want to execute for Abu Dhabi and for the semiconductor industry. That one day, Abu Dhabi will be a part of all of this. So why are we excited about the future? Well, you've been hearing it. You've been hearing it for the past 2 days. We live in a connected world. And this is transforming our behaviors. This is not just about computers connected. Airplanes are connected, cars are connected, devices are connected, your home is connected. We're going from 100 million units to 1 billion units to 1 trillion devices one day, all connected. And that's why we say that semiconductors are the oil of the information age. All this requires semiconductors. And we want to be in the middle of all of this. So what's driving all of this? Two forces. The most important force is our desire to share, is our desire to connect. Clay Shirky, who's a professor at NYU, calls this cognitive surplus. We now have the opportunity to contribute. Second force is what we call the consumerization of IT. In 2011 will be the first year that more tablets and smartphones will be sold than computers. This chart was put together by an analyst by the name of Mary Meeker, who was with Morgan Stanley and now is in Silicon Valley. She is an authority in this industry. This chart, in my opinion, is an inflection point for us, because computer companies as you know them can no longer be computer companies as you know them in the future. And that has implications for us as semiconductor companies. And all this is creating a demand and a need for cloud capability. And you're going to see today the power of the cloud as demonstrated by our partners today, AMD. More mobility, more connected devices, all powered in our hand, is going to require more capability in the cloud. But this is also creating a challenge. Last year alone, $25 billion was spent on energy in data centers and server farms. $25 billion. The amount of energy these server farms are consuming is tremendous. There has to be a solution for it. And increasingly, as the proliferation of connected devices keeps going up, this is going to be increasingly under pressure. So we as ATIC decided to invest in innovation again and partnered with a company in the US that is creating a server-based chip that will cut power consumption in servers by 95%. That is why we are excited about the future. More devices, more cloud. More cloud capability, more capability in your hand, with Abu Dhabi as the common denominator between all of this. But that's not where I want to end today. Where I want to end is capital is important. Capital bought us a seat at the table. Vision and leadership is very important. And we have incredible vision and leadership in Abu Dhabi. But for us to succeed in this industry, we need innovation. We need talent. We need talented youth. We hosted Biz Stone, who's the founder of Twitter, last November here in Abu Dhabi, and he said, he made this comment that resonated with me so deeply. He said, in order to succeed spectacularly, you must be ready to fail spectacularly. We're not used to this. We are not used to this in our part of the world. As Noura said yesterday, 200 million youth in this part of the world. So unless we unleash the talent of the youth, unless we embrace entrepreneurship, unless we as government investment companies and you as international organizations partner together to unleash the power of youth and talent in this part of the world, we will not be able to succeed in achieving our plans in Abu Dhabi. I had a company offsite with my team a couple of weeks ago, and I told the story of Andy Rubin, who's the founder of Android. Andy Rubin founded Android and got acquired by Google in 2005, and today Android is one of the most successful operating systems in the world. There has to be an Andy Rubin on some beach in this part of the world. And it's our responsibility to go find them. So next year's Media Summit, my ask is that we celebrate the entrepreneurial power that sits within our youth. Thank you for the opportunity. Now let's let the master storytellers come on stage. Thank you.